Hello. Have you ever wondered why women often get upset or offended? At first glance, it may seem like something simple, a kind of moodiness or emotional overreaction. But behind this feeling lies a much deeper complexity, a whole system of emotions, expectations, and experiences that come from deep within the soul and psyche. Imagine a family where several generations of women, grandmother, mother, and daughter live together. Each of them, at some point in life, learns not to express pain directly, not to voice what really hurts, but to keep that pain inside. Resentment becomes a habit and a way of survival, passed down from generation to generation. It's not just a whim. It's a mechanism of protection, a way to prevent even greater emotional suffering. It becomes like an invisible wall between people, built of accumulated unspoken words and feelings. The female brain is wired to perceive the world more subtly and deeply. Many studies show that women generally have a stronger developed empathy, the ability not just to hear words, but to feel the emotions behind them. Often, a woman perceives not only what is said explicitly, but also the hidden subtext intonation, facial expressions, small gestures. That is why a simple phrase from a man, said without ill intent, can be perceived by her as offensive. For example, when a man says, "I'm going fishing with friends," it is just a fact for him. But for a woman, it might trigger thoughts like, "So, I'm alone now. My time and care are not important." She doesn't say this out loud, but inside her mind, stormy thoughts and emotions are brewing that then turn into the feeling of resentment. Resentment is a reaction to violated personal boundaries, to the reality not matching expectations. It's especially intense in close relationships, where we are most vulnerable. A woman might expect understanding, attention, emotional support from her partner. When these expectations aren't met, resentment is born. Often, these expectations remain unconscious or unspoken, and the man might not even realize he's causing pain. Psychologists note that resentment is not just an emotional state, but also a physiological process. When a person is resentful, stress hormones increase, creating tension in the body. If a woman holds resentment inside for a long time, it affects her health, nervous system issues, digestive problems, insomnia. When feelings don't find release through words or dialogue, they become trapped within the body. In such cases, a person literally confines themselves in an emotional trap. There is a common myth that resentment is a form of manipulation. In reality, resentment is a signal, an internal cry that needs unmet needs or vulnerabilities to be noticed. This is why women tend to get offended more often. They are more sensitive to feelings of unlovedness, rejection, and misunderstanding. This is not a conscious move to control, but an unconscious defensive reaction. To better understand, imagine this dialogue. A husband happily announces he will spend the evening with friends. For him, it's just a plan. For the wife, it might feel like a potential wound. Her inner monologue goes, "So I'll be alone, without support and care." She doesn't say it directly, but her mind starts running full of fear of abandonment, feeling unimportant. This is the core of resentment, a silent pain building inside. How to break free from this cycle? First, it is crucial to learn to express feelings. Not blaming or reproaching, but sharing inner experiences. "It hurts me when," or "I feel." These phrases help a partner understand where the fine line of trust and support lies. In turn, the partner must practice attentive listening without criticism or defensive reactions. Only this can create a space where resentment ceases to accumulate. Also, it's important to understand one's own expectations and fears. Often, resentment arises from unclear or unspoken demands. If a woman realizes what she wants and why, it becomes easier to discuss it openly. Psychological work on oneself, mindfulness, and openness are key steps to harmony. Resentment is especially dangerous because it accumulates and strengthens internal barriers. A woman might forgive a resentment and behave normally, but the memory remains. The next conflict then is not just a new pain, but a reset of old wounds, deepening the rift in the relationship. That is why it is important not to hoard pain but to release it regularly. In addition to words, actions matter. Small signs of attention, spending time together, care and support, these all reduce the chance of resentment. A woman wants to feel important and needed, and when this happens, emotional tension eases. It's also important to remember that resentment is not a sentence. It's an emotion that signals the need for change in relationships. Letting go of resentment means choosing not only forgiveness of the other, but taking care of oneself. It is an act of strength, not weakness. If you see yourself or your relationship in this story, don't close yourself off. Try to start speaking about your feelings, even if it's difficult. Share your thoughts in the comments. What helps you cope with resentment? What you would like to change? Because honesty and the willingness to hear each other are the foundation of true closeness. Thank you for watching until the end. May your relationships be filled with attention, understanding, and love. See you in the next videos.